So yeah, I was gonna say there was a recent news story that was of interest to me that I wanted to bring up, and that was the fact that we have directors for the upcoming Metal Gear Solid film. Now, this film has been in production for so many bloody years. I think I'd heard about this back in maybe as early as the mid 2010s, maybe even earlier than that, because I think there was even talk about a Metal Gear Solid film after, MGS4 came out. But now we actually have directors for it, and it comes in the form of the directing duo, Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, who directed Final Destination Bloodlines. And I was like, huh, that is a very bizarre choice in the
Hmm.
sense that looking up like their filmography outside of Final Destination Bloodlines, the other film that they worked on was a while ago, and that was Freaks from 2018.
Hmm.
Now, I haven't actually seen that film myself, but I heard it was a decent film, a good film to watch. But in terms of like their big feature film filmography, they only have those two main films to their names. They've worked on some
Yeah.
TV stuff here and there, but this is like their first foray stepping into the video game space.
Hmm.
And for something like Metal Gear Solid, considering the complex nature of the story characters, the subject matter that it covers, you'd expect a more seasoned director to step into the chair with this, someone
Hmm.
who'd be able to confidently tell a story that
Yeah.
had depth, that had something that was compelling for audiences, but also be able to capture them with the action and the espionage that comes with that as well. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't going to do a good job. I'm just saying this is an interesting choice because when it comes to adaptations, I feel like in the last few years there have been some of those surprising choices when it comes to people taking on projects that you wouldn't expect. With Mortal Kombat, you had was it Simon McQuoid? He was the first time director that decided to handle the first Mortal Kombat from 2021, and he's handling the sequel. And then with the Street Fighter film, you had initially the directing duo who did Bring Her Back and Talk to Me before
Yeah.
they were taken off the projects, and it was given to was it Kaito, whose last name I've forgotten, but the Twisted Metal dude who handled those two episodes, and the one that's handled the Eric Andre show, he's now handling Street Fighter. And again, these are just unconventional choices for these properties, but clearly they're seeing, when I say they, the studios are seeing
Yeah.
something. Maybe these guys have a vision for the project that will be useful. So I'm just sort of curious. With Final Destination Bloodlines, the spectacle of that film was pretty good. I don't know if you ended up seeing that one.
Well, one thing is Zach Lipovsky's a name I haven't heard for a long time. Well, as someone who lives in Vancouver and someone who was quite active in like mid 20s, 2000s, with the film, basically the film culture over there. Zach Lipovsky used to direct a lot of short films, and Crazy Eight's a local competition. He was a finalist, and I think he won with this film Crazy Late. It's like a one-shot, 10-minute film. Really high concept. He's basically late for his own wedding, and he was just scrambling all across town. So, like in a micro budget short film, he was able to have to basically tell like a succinct story, a really entertaining story, and progress that way. And then when the last time I heard of him was when he joined On the Lot, the Spielberg kind of like competition between all these you know directors, and looking that like the directing duo that they met on the Lot, and now they did with Final Destination. But to answer your question, I haven't seen Final Destination, but seeing his name again, I was like, oh, whatever happened to that guy, right? And then the moment you showed me this that they're directing Metal Gear Solid, I was going like, yeah, that's a a pretty big step up. With Metal Gear Solid is a really it's up there with Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, and all these franchises that the fans really hold dear. Like basically, you deviate a little bit from what these fans want, right? Like a pound of flesh will be asked. So this is a massive step up, and like I'm happy for them. I'm happy they're able to get this opportunity, and I really want to see what they're able to do with it. And on a very indie level, like I was impressed with Zach Lipovsky's work back in the day, and seeing when we get to see like a final cut for Metal Gear Solid, I'm definitely gonna go check it out and see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. I think this upcoming film will also have the interesting choice of figuring out where to start because obviously you think go with MGS1 because that's like a fairly straightforward story when compared to like the other ones. But then considering all the weird, quirky, and just game related stuff that comes with not only that game but the franchise as well, you're just like, okay, how much are they going to adapt? What are they going to strip away? Is it going to be more direct, or is it going to be a case that they just take pieces of the games and then create their own original thing? Because MGS is like a franchise that I know a good number of my friends and a number of people online, they hold that thing dear like the Bible. So any sort of notable changes I know will come with like a certain level of apprehension. So this film is going to have a certain level of scope to it. The tone will have to be correct. The music's going to have to be on point as well. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like there's a lot of factors to consider with this. I'm so curious. I'm excited, but I'm just like, yo, like what kind of direction are we going to take with this? Who's going to be Solid Snake, man?
Right? Well, Oscar Isaac was attached at one point, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was talked about for a while, and like that almost seemed like that was going to get off the ground, but I guess that just never panned out.
Well, really, really curious to see.